Hi, I'm Zane. Welcome to our YouTube channel. This is a little project my son and I undertook ever since this whole COVID thing started. And this video is different than the other four. The first three were based on music. The fourth was based on reading a book, but that got taken down right away. Copyright infringement, we learned a lot of lessons. This fifth one is for recruitment. You see, I'm on a committee, and the committee needs volunteers. Need to communicate to as many people across Canada as effectively as possible. So what better way than to post a video accessible to everybody? I'm looking for engineers and planners to join an adaptation to climate change committee, specifically to adapt Canada's road infrastructure design guide to climate change. This is all 11 chapters from the Transportation Association of Canada Geometric Design Guide for Canadian Roads, otherwise known as the TAC GDG. Chapter 1 is focused on the overall design philosophy. Chapter 2 goes deeper into design controls, classification, and consistency. Chapter 3 starts digging into the alignment and lane configuration. Chapter 4 is all about the cross-section elements. Chapter 5 gets into integrating bicycles, while Chapter 6 gets into integrating pedestrians and other vulnerable road users. Chapter 7, roadside design. Chapter 8, accesses. Chapter 9, intersections. Chapter 10, interchanges. The guide closes on Chapter 11, special roads. Shameless plug while we're here, be sure to catch the 4th annual TAC Conference Jam, where you can see this Godin guitar, also Canadian made, posted on this YouTube channel, early October 2020. We are at the very beginning of the process to adapt the TAC GDG. And at this point, we have more questions than answers. Which components of road infrastructure design should be addressed nationally, as opposed to addressed purely locally without national guidance? What road infrastructure design guidance could we provide that would most benefit provincial and municipal jurisdictions? What matters? How should the design guidelines be changed? So many questions. But first, if we are vulnerable, we need to know where we are vulnerable. Where are we the most vulnerable? What exactly that we design in our road infrastructure is vulnerable? When? At what point in its life cycle will the infrastructure be vulnerable? Finally, how can we adapt our guidelines to minimize our vulnerability? Once we understand the why, where, what, when, and how, we can adapt the guidelines, and our job at this end will be done. Once the guidelines have been adapted, it will be left up to individual practitioners to apply engineering judgment to adapt their individual infrastructure design to the extreme weather events we can expect from our changing climate. The challenge is that the guidelines deal with thousands of infrastructure design variables. Fortunately, a tool exists to manage the variables to differentiate between the vulnerabilities. It's a tool to help us determine which variables are most vulnerable to climate change and which variables are least vulnerable to climate change, with all the whys, wheres, whens, whats, and hows along the way. This tool is called the PIEVC Protocol. It was originally developed by Engineers Canada, and as... What the hell is that? This tool is called the PIEVC Protocol. It was originally developed by Engineers Canada, and in the spring of 2020, it rolled over into an international partnership called, the Canadian partner is called, the Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction, based in Toronto. I guess if it's going to have the most effect, putting it in the center of the universe makes most sense. I would describe the PIEVC protocol as fundamentally a risk assessment tool. It's available to anyone, anywhere at no cost. And we on the committee, you if you're one, are going to apply the PIEVC protocol to the TAC Geometric Design Guide. So the intent is to host a 2-day workshop to focus the PIEVC protocol on one chapter of the TAC GDG. We'd hoped to host the meetings at the TAC Spring Meetings in Ottawa 2021. However, with COVID, it likely won't be able to hold the workshop until fall 2021 in Quebec City during the TAC Conference. I expect at the end of day one, we'll spend some time I shall wait. The work plan for the workshop is a work in progress. I expect there should be about 30 people in the room from coast to coast to coast. We'll have one PIEVC Protocol facilitator, someone to orchestrate us through the 2 days. We'll have at least 2 climatologists to represent the West, the East, the Center, and the North. With them, we'll talk about the climatological data that we've been using historically. But then we're going to go deep into the nature and the severity and the probability of future climate changes and events. We'll get into the adaptive capacity of the technical components that we're looking at in the TAC GDG. And at the end of the first day, we'll probably get into the technical aspects of the PIEVC protocol to know precisely how that works. So that on day 2, we can focus on the PIEVC protocol, focus on that one chapter of the TAC GDG, and find those vulnerabilities that we've been looking for.
By the end of October 2020, a working group from the TAC Geometric Design Standing Committee will have chosen which chapter will be analyzed for vulnerabilities to climate change using the PIEVC protocol. If you're interested in the PIEVC Protocol Workshop in 2021, or if you know someone in your organization you think is perfect for this, if they or you use the TAC GDG in some form, if your organization is a member of the Transportation Association of Canada, then talk to your people to organize whatever you got to do on your end, then get a hold of me at zanesloanbc@gmail.com. Alternatively, I will track you down. Basically, we're looking for at least one participant from each province and territory with a healthy mix of private and public professional participation. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to check out the 4th annual TAC Conference Jam also on this channel. And of course, please subscribe and hit that notification bell for future videos.